Good morning again. Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing yet another video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And I want to talk about something that is commonly going around, if you've heard about it. Pedophilia, everybody's getting called a pedophile. People are up in arms about all of the Epstein files and just going on a witch hunt, it looks like. And I want to clarify a couple of things, a couple of points that are very important to differentiate. First of all, the attitude that I'm picking up on from all of these people in their fervor in their witch hunt is that there should be a hard separation between people of a certain age and the general public. Okay, well, that's debatable. But if you ask me, the proper way to look at it, they're not even looking at it right. The right way to look at it is there shouldn't be a separation. There should be understanding of how to behave yourself around people of any age versus drawing a line between people of a certain age and associating with other people. Here, I'm going to say that again, if maybe that didn't make sense. There should be an expectation that people shouldn't feel uncomfortable being around young people, but they should know how to behave themselves. It's a categorical difference of perspective. You should know, how to conduct yourself around babies, around, very young children, around adolescents, around teens, around people in high school age and college age. You should know when you encounter people, because there's people everywhere, how to behave. And how do you do that? How do people learn how to behave? Well, you have to have some kind of realistic opportunities. Granted, some people have a history. Some people have a history of abuse. They have a history of predatory behavior, and there's an important system in place to track and record their behavior so that people can be protected in general, so that future victims can be protected. But most people, and this should be the rule, the basis for the rule, most people actually aren't that kind of person. They aren't predatory, they aren't abusive, they aren't selfish, and they aren't a hazard. Ultimately, they aren't a hazard to other people. But sometimes everybody needs practice, a little opportunity to, remind themselves that impulse control is a thing, that boundaries and recognition of boundaries is hugely important. How can you practice recognizing boundaries and controlling your impulses if you have zero opportunities to experience being social around people of different ages? Okay, so I'm not saying that everybody's fit and ready to be exposed. I'm saying that the vast majority of people that I'm hearing right now have the wrong idea, that there should, in a perfect world, be some kind of fence around children. Okay, I disagree. Categorically, for the children's sake and for everybody's sake. It's bad because you create a world that is built on things that cannot withstand exposure to innocence, if you want to hear it that way. You build a world that is based on vice and iniquity, if you know what that word means, that is based on being twisted and, drugs and alcohol and recreational sex and all the things that you're trying to save the kids from that you probably shouldn't be doing yourselves. Honestly, you build a world that is unsupportable to have children in. When you reinforce those boundaries between children and the rest of the world, they should be integrated. They need to be integrated for their own mental health and for yours as well, is the point I'm making here. With all that in mind, that's a lot of information, but it's true. It's absolutely true. Consider that the best case, in summary, is when people know how to behave themselves around kids versus how to avoid kids. Okay? You can expect success, that somebody will be responsible, will be successful and healthy in their behavior and in their interaction with people, or you can expect disaster. You can expect the worst case scenario, and like I've mentioned in my other videos, whichever course you choose, whichever expectation you make, you were right, because you tip things in that direction. It's called the law of attraction. The things you concentrate on multiply in your field of vision, because when you search for something, what do you find? You find that. And it's especially true with people and their behavior. If you deny somebody a vote of confidence, they're gonna not disappoint you. If you give somebody a vote of confidence, most of the time they're gonna also not disappoint you. Yes, there's the occasional bad apple. I'm not saying there are no bad apples. I'm not saying that nobody should react to the bad apples. Of course you have to. But the vast majority of people do behave themselves, can behave themselves, and need every opportunity to learn how to behave themselves. It's super important for everybody. Reach out with questions or comments down below. Thank you.